All right. So let's just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. Anyway, what was I saying about Shanti Deva? Oh, yeah. So Shanti Deva is our sister center in New York. And I'm doing that mindfulness meditation course with them that I've done it here within this for Tuta Nobeling as well. And it's an incredibly sweet and powerful course, even just it's only 5 sessions long. We've done one today. But anybody's welcome to join at any time if you're even slightly interested. But it's what time would it be for you guys? It's 7 to 8:30 Eastern. So what does that make it for you guys? 5:30 to 6:30 or something. For me, it's 4:30. Yeah, for me, it's 4:30. 4 to 5:30. For you, it would be 5 to 6:30. Anyway, so just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture, both feet flat on the floor, about a hip's width apart. And align your shoulders with your hips and your ears with your shoulders. Imagine you have this beautiful string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. Just imagine you're lengthening your spine and then just relax your face, your body, particularly the face. Just allow your face to soften. Then relax the back of the head and allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down, relaxing the throat, the chest, the belly, and all of the limbs. And just be aware of the sensations of the breath as you inhale and exhale through the nostrils, chest cavity, belly, and then bringing your attention to any potential distractions, disruptions. And particularly with sound, just allow all the sound to be there. Try not to follow with the mind. And then just check in with your mind this evening. How are you doing? Where are you at? And just, remember, no matter how you're doing, how you're feeling, how you're turning up, it's all totally fine. There's probably a few people in here who are jet lagged. That's one thing. Just be objective about what you're seeing in your mind. And then just bring to mind all the people of our life, our loved ones, our strangers, and then the ones we don't particularly like much. These relationships are all interchangeable. They're all equal. The same as you and me. They all want to be happy and they don't want to suffer. And they all have this extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. So we think we'll do this practice this evening for all these people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings. So we start this practice, this purification practice, in the context of the four opponent powers. So we think There is no negativity that can't be purified, and this purification process is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind, so equally we can change it by creating positivity instead. And we start with this power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of our heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. And so, having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering, that we might experience. And we know from our present suffering we might not want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So we think, I regret from the depths of my heart, having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I am sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, well, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to this power of reliance, and we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has these methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we're needing the Buddha Vajrasattva to forgive us, we're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So you imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of this beautiful, radiant, blissful white light. Sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion, he has a beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion, and their being crossed represents the union of these two. And this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So we have our little section here on compassion, and in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we've harmed, and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of people you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who have harmed you and have compassion for them, because the harm they have caused you is going to result in suffering for them sometime in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. And then we come to this power of remedy. And this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body. And imagine Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Anupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mepiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hom Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sakva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Anupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Bhadrasafa Samayam Manupalaya Bhadrasafa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Bhadrasafa Samayam Manupalaya Bhadrasafa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Bhadrasafa Samayam Manupalaya Bhadrasafa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Bhadrasafa Samayam Manupalaya Bhadrasafa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Bhadrasafa Samayam Manupalaya Bhadrasafa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Bhadrasafa Samayam Manupalaya Bhadrasafa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And next is the purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech. And this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine that all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about people behind their backs and getting other people to agree with you, all of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra again. Om Bhadrasafa Samayam Manupalaya Bhadrasafa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimbi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Bhadrasafa Samayam Manupalaya Bhadrasafa Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anurakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe, Om Bhadrasafa Samayam Manupalaya Bhadrasafa Dina Patita, Jida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Bhadrasafa Samayam Manupalaya Bhadrasafa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Bhadrasafa Samayam Manupalaya Bhadrasafa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mebi yata sawa kama sitame. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified. And imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And next is the purification of our mind, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So you imagine the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, and instantaneously all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all your attachment and neediness and anger and depression, resentment, jealousy, bitterness, all of this is instantly dispelled, not one atom left as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mebi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And you think there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And this time imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, and it fills you completely. And the nectar flows down, pushing out all the negativity of the body and the nectar flows up, pushing out all the negativity of the speech. And then the light comes and just completely blasts all of the delusions. So in this way, you eradicate even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your consciousness. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mebiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mebiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe, Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Jita Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta meboa sawasidi mebi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe am vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Jita meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mebi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe am vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita jita meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa sawasidi mebi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe am vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita jita meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa sawasidi mebi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe am vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita jita meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa sawasidi mebi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Now we come to this power of resolve, and this is the fourth and the final step in the purification process, and it's a really crucial one because this is where we have to make a decision. We have to just decide that we want to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. So, of course, without this, we're just going to keep following the same old habit patterns over and over again. So this determination, this aspiration to refrain from harming is like a beacon that guides our body and our speech and our mind in new directions. So just think of some old habit that you have that might be harmful to either yourself or others. And see if you can work with that. Could be rumination. Going over and over the same old thing over and over again does nothing to help. Could be maybe you just chat too much, boring everybody to death. Maybe you just absent-mindedly kill little creatures when you've already made a promise that you wouldn't do that. Maybe you eat too much sugar. Just so simple, these little things, these little habits we have. Maybe you're careless with your dharma, put it on the floor. Things like that. So imagine, you start putting attention towards this to try and change, and Vajrasattva's delighted with us, wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, and Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So next, Lama Zopa Rinpoche would recommend to meditate on emptiness. So in emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So however you understand emptiness, just place your mind there for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So let's do our chanting the names of Manjushri for the swift return of our precious Lamas of Rinpoche. Can make it a little bigger. Okay, thank you. Om Vajra Tikshna Dukkha Cheda Prajna Jana Murtaye Janakaya Vagisara Ara Pachanaye Te Nama. 5. The Great Vajradhatu Mandala. And so he is the Blessed One, the Buddha, awakened fully born of the letter A. He is the letter A, the foremost phenom, the suprememost syllable with meaning great. Arising from great evil force, unborn, beyond expression, based on words or speech, the foremost cause of every form of speech, the shining forth of every kind of language. Look, everybody, let's have a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, for the swift return of our precious Lamas of Rinpoche, and for all of your own individual teachers. And a warm welcome back to Marion and Barbara. Don't see Bill here. Anyone who went on that pilgrimage recently to India and Nepal. Welcome. And I hope you get some good sleep tonight. Okay. All right, everyone. Lots of love. Thank you, Shayla. And good night, everybody. Have a good weekend. Okay. Bye-bye.